your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Here we are for an hour and a half until we take you to the NFL. We'll have Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, right before that. Really appreciate Chaim, who has taken over for John Mozeliak, not only in the Cardinals front office, but on this show. And before Mo, Walt Jocketty used to do it every Sunday. Chaim has taken the ball, and he continues on that path. We appreciate the insight, the information. It doesn't get more official than Chaim Bloom telling us what the Cardinals are up to. That'll happen at 11:15. NFL picks at 11:05. There's a game going on right now, as a matter of fact, in the NFL in Berlin. How about that? And it's the Falcons leading the Colts at halftime, 14-13. Colts have a bit of a kicking issue going on right now, and they trail 14-13 at the break. They had a missed kick earlier, and Michael Penix took advantage. Pass to Drake London for a 16-yard touchdown and a 14-13 lead. This was after Indianapolis went up 13-7 on a touchdown. Earlier, Jonathan Taylor had a touchdown to put the Colts up 6-0 and a missed extra point. That'll hurt you after several times. I don't know how many times they've missed, but they've had a few kicking issues there. 14-13, Atlanta leads Indianapolis at the half. At 10:45, we'll talk some Blues with Dan O'Neill. Dan O'Neill Sr., who has been covering that team for a long, long time. Right now he has a book, a children's book that we're going to talk about, but we'll also talk some hockey with him and other sports. Dan O'Neill with us at 10:45. Josh Schertz, he'll be with us at 10:30 this morning. They're 2-0. I think they're better than Mizzou basketball. How about that take? Look, common opponent. I mean, you look at what they did to Southeast Missouri State. They beat SEMO by 25, and Mizzou struggled against SEMO. Maybe they took them a little lightly or whatever, but they struggled. They only won by 5, 89-84, till they finally got their act together. Illinois looks really good. Illinois smoked Florida Gulf Coast and smoked Jackson State in their first game. They've scored 113 points in each game. But SLU's good. SLU has scored 200 points in their first 2 games. I think that's pretty good. They just need to figure out their defense, and Josh Schertz, I'm sure, will explain that a little bit more at 10:30 this morning. And at 10:15, Bernie Miklasz, can't wait to talk to him about what I witnessed yesterday in college football. First, we'll talk about the bad, and that is that Missouri lost to Texas A&M, who may well be the best team in the country. Some people think that they are. They won 38-17 over the Tigers, and they showed why they're so dominant. They have a very good offense with great playmakers all over the field. Their quarterback, Marcel Reed, is tough to bring down. 20 of 29 passing for 221 and 2 touchdowns. Just that short, accurate passing game that they have can be a machine with their running attack, but their defense is legit. Missouri had Matt Zollers, their freshman quarterback, playing, and the Tigers had no offensive line. I mean, no pass protection. Running the ball, yeah, sure. I mean, Jamal Roberts had 17 carries for 110 yards, and their other bruiser, the best running back in the SEC, in my opinion, and statistically, Ahmad Hardy, he has over 100 yards as well. But Missouri doesn't give the ball to them enough. I really don't think they do, especially when you have a freshman quarterback and clearly your pass protection is a mess. He carries the ball 13 times for 109. He ripped off a 45-yard run to start the game, first play of the game. And then they didn't give the ball to him after that. Roberts, I love the kid from St. Mary's, 17 carries for 110. Hardy, 13 carries for 109. But I said it, the only way you're going to beat Texas A&M is to control the time of possession and control the clock as best you can. And it really was A&M's day. I mean, they rolled up 464 yards. They got to Matt Zollers whenever they wanted to. I don't care who's playing quarterback back there. If you can't protect your quarterback, he's not going to be able to make plays out there. And they just were all over him. He was only 7 of 22 passing. Kind of feel bad for Zollers, even though, you know, a couple of things are on him, but most of it's on the fact that they couldn't protect him. So they lose the game 38-17 after cutting it to 24-10 in the fourth quarter, making it a 2-possession game. A&M just put their foot on them and took care of it with 2 touchdowns and won at 38-17. It's too bad because Missouri has an SEC caliber defense. They just don't have the offense right now to complement it, and they are not a playoff team. They don't look like one, and now mathematically they are not one. They have 3 losses. Here are the playoff teams right now in college football. Number 1 team in the nation is Ohio State. I think they should stay that way. They're the defending national champions for a reason. They're 9-0, 34-10, easy win over Purdue. They score 24 points in the second quarter, and then they just sit back and let their defense take care of the rest. They are dominant against Barry Odom's Boilermakers on the road. Purdue's 0-7 in the Big Ten, and Ohio State wins 34-10. Indiana banged up on the offensive line, and you could see Penn State feasted on that. Penn State still has 4 or 5-star players. They might have lost 5 in a row, but they're playing in front of 107,000. They were juiced up, ready to go. First home game since James Franklin got fired. They had a good effort at Iowa, but lost by a point. They had a good first half, and then Ohio State smacked them around a little bit. But they showed a little something in that Ohio State game that they could put things together, and they did against Indiana. Indiana looked like they were going to run away with the game. They're up 17-7 at half. They got the ball back, but they did not score a touchdown to take a commanding 24-7 lead. They went up 20-7, and they opened the door for Penn State. Penn State's Ethan Grunkemeyer is a good freshman quarterback, and their running back Singleton can burst for big plays, and he did with the help of a pick from an official, blocked the safety out of the way. But anyway, Penn State gets down, scores a touchdown, takes the lead eventually 24-20. And it's Fernando Mendoza's turn to put together his Heisman moment. 6.5 minutes to go and can't do it. Penn State stops them. Indiana, one last chance, but they've got all their timeouts, and somehow they hold Penn State, and it's a punt back to them with 2 minutes to go. And then Mendoza on his own 20 gets sacked on first down. And I'm telling you, it looks like Indiana's finally going to get their first loss. And somehow Mendoza, who has been drilled all day, starts completing passes. He hits one over the middle to Cooper. He finds later Charlie Becker, 6'4" receiver, in for the number 1 receiver, All-American Elijah Surratt, who is out with a hamstring injury, makes some great grabs in this game, including one where he gets 1 foot in bounds and those hands holding on to the ball as he falls out of bounds, and Indiana's in business. They're in the red zone. 3rd and goal from the 7. He finds Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone with one of the greatest catches you will ever see. Skies into the air, pulls it down. Somehow, as he's getting pushed out of bounds, tries to keep his feet in. He gets 1 toe in. The toe tap, it looked like he got both feet in, actually. But he gets 1 foot in, and it's a touchdown. They review it, but it's a touchdown. And Indiana wins the game 27-24. Amazing. They stay unbeaten at 10-0. Texas A&M, as I mentioned, beat Missouri. Alabama over LSU 20-9. Georgia takes care of business at Mississippi State 41-21. Ole Miss 49-0 over Citadel. Texas Tech beats BYU 29-7, sending the Big 12 into a frenzy. Oregon outlasts Iowa 18-16, and Notre Dame looks pretty good, beating Navy 49-10. We'll talk to Navy fan Bernie Miklasz when we come back on KMOX.
The holidays are here, filled with laughter, family, and memories. But if you're missing the punchline, the conversation, or even the music, it might be time to check your hearing. Hi, I'm Charlie Brennan.
I'm Dr. Bosler with the Audiology Center.
And I'm Dr. Voss. This season, we want you to hear every moment.
Hearing aids today can process sound faster than before. They're smarter at separating the speech from the background noise, meaning that when you're at the holiday parties this season, you'll hear the voices that you want to hear, clearer than before.
So don't wait until the new year. Give yourself the gift of better hearing today and reconnect with the people and the moments that matter most.
Call the Audiology Center, 636-441-7470, or online, theaudiologycenterstl.com. 3 convenient locations.
Call us today and make this holiday season better than last year's. Here for the holidays. here for life.
Missouri, get ready. FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book, is coming soon. And starting December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. So from touchdowns to home runs to three-pointers, with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. And with live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. FanDuel is the best way to game day, and it's coming soon to Missouri. Just visit FanDuel.com/promo code to learn more. This way you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/promo code. Play your game with FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts 12/1/2025. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett.
It makes a big difference who's actually interpreting the mammogram images that you get. We make sure that we have an expert team of breast radiologists that specialize in reading mammograms to be sure that we can get you the most accurate read possible.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. So go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
The voice of St. Louis is turning 100.
KMOX Radio in St. Louis.
Join us as we celebrate all the legendary voices.
This is KMOX.
This is KMOX.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Groundbreaking programming.
A new concept at your service.
And unforgettable moments that defined a century.
His name is Charles A. Linden. Ahead, 3,600 miles to Paris.
Through every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat, KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com. Because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Joined by Bernie Miklasz. Bernie going through this college football playoff shuffle and trying to figure it all out. All I know is my team is still in it. They were in it even if they lost the game. But wow, that was that. Now the dream season is alive for Indiana.
Best ending of the year, at least involving major teams, and certainly the play of the year, the catch of the year at the end to pull it out. And I think that I'm a Heisman Trophy voter, have been since the late 80s, but I don't have a say about like who I think everyone else is going to vote for. But I think what Mendoza did yesterday on that final drive, which was incredible, I think that vaulted him into the lead. Although Ohio State's Julian Sayin, who's been fantastic, I think he's right there too. So it's going to be a great Heisman race down the stretch.
Yes, it is. And, you know, great teams find ways to win when they're not playing at their best. Indiana banged up. They go into Penn State, clearly an inspired team, and they pull that thing out. And I do, of course, as a fan of Indiana, appreciate that. But I do look at that. I look at teams that just figure it out when things are not going their way. And Indiana, I thought got a lot of recognition for that very thing.
No, I totally. Listen, yeah, I understand the dominant teams are supposed to, win games, if not easily, win them decisively. I get all that. But I don't care how great you are. There is going to be a time during the course of the season, especially in a conference that's as good as the Big Ten, where it's not just your day. You're swimming against the tide. Things are going against you. You could drown. There's no one to pull you out. You have to pull yourself out of it. And to me, that reaffirms how great a team is when they can survive and prevail in games like that, where they're basically about to drown and go down, but they find a way to win. That reaffirms their greatness. I don't understand the people that would have us believe that because you win a squeaker on the road against a Penn State team had lost 5 in a row, that somehow that should be held against you. That's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I think typically it's because there's so many games. Not everybody gets to watch them through. They see the scores, they're like, ooh, barely beat them. Well, if you watch the game and you knew the situation and all that stuff. Now, on the flip side of things, Ohio State, we just talked about them. They're really, really good. Indiana's very good. I think you can make the case that Texas A&M is the best team in the country. They looked awesome yesterday in Columbia. They beat up Missouri, didn't they?
Well, they did. And listen, I picked Texas A&M to win, but I thought Mizzou would make it a really close game. Like my thing I said on the video Friday, and also in a column I wrote at STL Sports Central, that I thought it'd be a close game. And I really did thought that the true freshman quarterback, Matt Zollers, would play well. Well, I was probably a little naive, and I never, me, man, I never hesitate to admit when I'm wrong about something. I still believe in him. I still absolutely believe in him that he is going to be a really, really outstanding quarterback. But that assignment, I'm going to say he wasn't quite ready for that assignment. But I will also say this. I'm not sure that the coaching staff got him ready for the assignment. And here's what I mean. I didn't. Let me ask you, if you watched the game, and I'm sure you did. I'm sorry, brother. Did you see any kind of throws that were called that would have got him into a rhythm, got him some confidence? No. Well, like, why was everything like down the sideline, 25, 30, 40 yards, throwing to receivers who frankly really didn't get open? I mean, they did a little bit. Like how is that good for a young man's confidence?
Yeah,
when you're asking him to just throw these lightning bolts instead of giving him some short stuff to get him going.
I know, it's like they put Dan Marino in the game or something. I mean, I mean, it's like you gotta manage the game and run the football. Clearly, your offensive line is terrible protecting against the pass rush in this game. So they like to run block. I mean, the team averaged about a little under 10 yards a carry. I mean, run the football.
Right.
And they run the clock. They did.
And they ran it well, but they did nothing in the passing game to take advantage of the fact that they really ran it with a lot of muscle yesterday. Did they ever really use the middle of the field? Now, people will say, well, they didn't have Norfleet. Okay. I do believe other teams suffer injuries. You lose your tight end. It doesn't mean you get to completely fall apart in the passing game. And by the way, when the kid was at Vanderbilt, he threw a touchdown pass, the only touchdown they had in that loss to Vandy, and he threw it to the backup tight end. So they have other tight ends who can catch the football.
They do.
Where was the middle of the field?
I don't know. And, their defense looks SEC top shelf. I mean, I really do think so. But, it is what it is. I mean, the last 2 seasons against ranked teams in the SEC, Missouri's 0-6. They're just they just are what they are. I like Eli Drinkwitz a lot. I like this football program and the momentum that they have, but you got to be able to do it on the field.
The last 3 years have been good for Mizzou football. Obviously, I mean they're 27-8. That's a 7.71 overall win percentage, which is in the top 10 of the Power 4 plus Notre Dame. But I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to go the last 3 seasons. They're 5-8 against teams, but they've lost 6 in a row at a time where they should be getting better. They've lost 6 in a row against ranked teams. See, I give them some leeway. I realize that they don't have the talent of an Alabama or Ohio State or Texas or Georgia. Okay, I give them a little wiggle room there. But at some point, you have to do better against those teams. And if we look at their record in the SEC over the last 3 years, it's 13-8, which is okay. But against SEC ranked teams over the last 3 years, 2-8, including 0-6, as you mentioned, the last 2 seasons. So when the SEC teams that aren't ranked, they're 11-0. So there is a huge gap still between Mizzou and the elite programs. And in a related thought, and I'm not telling people what they, including you, which they already don't know. Mizzou's sitting here 6-3. They have 3 games left. I don't think they're going to win at Oklahoma. I think they're going to be on upset alert because after just sort of getting bounced from any playoff consideration, are they going to come out flat next week? What about the final game at Arkansas? My point being, if Drinkwitz, finishes like 8-4, is he still going to be appealing to some of these programs that are looking for coaches? What about if it's 7-5? What about, gosh forbid, it's 6-6? Like, in other words, if they go belly up late in the season, why would a Florida or an LSU or a Penn State, how would they sell that to the fans? Well, wait a minute. They can't beat ranked teams. They're getting worse instead of better. And, the quarterback excuse only goes so far, So we they didn't get the kid ready to play in a way that he could have had more of a chance of a success. To me, that goes against them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, those 3 elite programs that have been, among, let's say, the Blue Bloods, but then you got Arkansas where he's from and Auburn where he's coached that also have vacancies, maybe that next tier. So maybe they would be willing to take the 7-5 Eli Drinkwitz. I don't know. As long as this thing lingers, I'm very curious to see what happens with all of that. I am a fan of him. I think he's terrific for what's happened in Columbia. I think the resurgence of Mizzou football has been on his watch and a lot of his doing. Let me,
No doubt. I'm a fan too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying there comes a point in time when you're building a successful program. And I give them a lot of slack. And I also, Dan Devine, the patron saint of Mizzou football, who I love and was a friend of mine, God rest his soul. He was 3-7 against top 10 teams as coaches, the Mizzou Tigers. It ain't easy to vault to that next level where you can beat the very best teams on a consistent basis. That's all I'm trying to say. But I think the problem with Drink is that record against the really, really good teams, instead of getting better, it's getting worse. And I don't think that's justifiable.
A couple minutes left. Our last question here is just the Cardinals. From what you have sort of gathered over the last week, as Chaim Bloom steps into the GM meetings, and we're going to talk to him here in about an hour, but as he steps into the GM meetings, what do you expect him to start to do here? Go after some starters?
Yeah, there'll be a lot. Listen, man, a lot of meetings, a lot of groundwork. You know him pretty well by now. I think I do too. The guy never stops talking to people. I love his energy. I love his enthusiasm. He's always texting. He's always on Zoom. He's always having calls. I mean, he just never stops. I love that. That energy is something that's going to be really great for the Cardinals. Well, he's going to lay the groundwork because he said it last Sunday to you on Sports on Sunday morning. Pitching. Not only starters, but bullpen. And I think they need to get 2 starters. The question is now, fans ought to realize, and they do, we're not talking about them being in play for Dylan Cease or one of those guys. But there are going to be a lot of starters available that you can sign to a 1-year contract. And there's going to be starters available that, because of Chaim Bloom's analytics department and the way that they scout potential turnaround candidates, they're going to look at guys like that they think they can fix. With Matt Pierpont, who's brilliant, their pitching director. And I also think one thing real quick is that, I hear in the wind, I have some sources around the country that, they think the Cardinals would really love to trade for a really, really good young starting pitcher. They know they'd have to give up a lot, but a guy like Edward Cabrera of Miami, who's got 3 years left. So I think they're going to try to explore that type of thing. I'm not saying it's going to be him exactly, but hypothetically, sort of a pitcher like him that's got 2-3 years left who can really upgrade their rotation at the top.
I could see that. That would be phenomenal if they could pull that off. Bernie, we appreciate you very much. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks for being with us.
As always, love you. Take care.
Love you, man. Bernie Miklasz with us, Sports on a Sunday Morning. Josh Schertz, head coach of the Billikens, next.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
It was great sadness that we report that earlier this evening, a plane believed to be carrying Governor Cardinals went down in Jefferson County. There were no survivors.
There, when St. Louis mourned.
I remember I was at home. The news day was over for me when I got the call. It was a rainy night. That the governor's plane at first was missing in a thunderstorm.
The most difficult, time-consuming, and emotional thing I've covered in my life.
He served the people of Missouri with dignity and honor for more than 4 decades. And all of Missouri will remember him for his dedication to public service.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX. The voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine. KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-323-8922. 800-323-8922. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-323-8922.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
i3 Broadband, where in the spirit of the season, you can feast on 100% fiber internet. Whether you're shopping, streaming, gaming, or gathering, you need reliable and fast internet, and that's the good stuff you can stuff yourself on when you have i3. They always mirror upload and download speeds. They have a price lock guarantee, and you get unbeatable value, support, and service. Call today, 877-976-0711. They have plans for any budget, and you're likely to pay less money for better service compared with whoever currently provides your internet. That's i3 Broadband, i3broadband.com.
Help KMOX make the holiday season brighter for St. Louis area children by supporting TSO Tuesdays, benefiting Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. On Tuesdays, Sugar Fire will donate a portion of their TSO Tuesday special to Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. Get your tickets today for this holiday tradition. All you need to know at KMOX.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Can't get around the bigger thing. Stolen away by Kellen.
Protect yourself.
Length of the floor to the hole. Layup good because Bush was all over him or he would have dunked it.
Yes. Look at that. He stole it from a 5'9" point guard.
And stolen away by Quentin Jones. Wants to weave and drive. Reverse layup. Yes! Oh, take him to Q school.
Yes. Look at the
Throw away
dogs.
my things for Sharma. Step back 3. Bang! Instant Sharma. Oh, the defense. It's gone crazy.
Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. were going crazy on KMOX with that great moment for the Billikens as they exploded and ended up winning that game against Chicago State, 108-86. Joining us is Josh Schertz, head coach of the Billikens. Good morning, Coach.
Morning, Tom. Good to hear from you. And everything always sounds better when Rammer and Earl. I need them in my day-to-day life, just calling like me grocery shop and they're driving to work. You know, whatever we're doing, it'd be great to have those guys narrating it for you.
He's loading up on more sparkling water. There he goes.
Instant Sharma, the slope shot, but Rammers, those guys are too much.
That was a wild moment in the game, a game that I know frustrated you a little bit defensively, but let me first just compliment 108 and the fact that that smaller lineup kind of did the trick, didn't it? Just to pick up the pace of that basketball game.
Yeah, it did. That's part of, we have a deep, versatile team in a lot of ways we can play. And certainly going with the 5-guard look, with size, because I think we had, Deion's out there some, and he's the smallest guy, whatever, 6'3", 6'4", but everybody else, 6'6" and above, and a lot of versatility there, a lot of pace. And that's what that group, their strength is being able to really pressure and force turnovers and switch everything and really play with great pace and skill. And I thought, our defensive pressure, allowed us to really hit the gas offensively and had a big run there to kind of take a game that was, pretty close early in the second half. I think it was an 8-point game when the run started and we went on a 29-1 run and then, we were up 36. So, and it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah. When you started that lineup of Avila and Otieno together, with Dunlap, who can rebound, and Thames, who can rebound, and Deion, who can rebound, I turned to Troy. Actually, I said it on the telecast. I'm like, that's a rebounding lineup right there. That was what you were trying to do. It just didn't seem to work out. The physicality that you wanted was not there.
Yeah, no question. I think, we thought that would be a lineup that, against Chicago State, would give us a chance to really, hit the glass. They're a smaller team. They also, kind of play a, chaotic, frenetic style that gets them in a lot of rotations and scrambling. So we thought we'd have an advantage on the glass. Credit, Chicago State. I thought, their shot making, but their effort level, how physical they played, how hard they played. They have good players and they really competed. And so I thought, we didn't have an advantage there. But that's the way, things work inside of a game. You go into a game, you have an idea or thoughts of what you think will be successful. And sometimes those ideas are spot on. And then other times, it's not at all what you thought, and it could happen in a variety of areas. Maybe a guy's a terrible shooter coming to a game, you're going to play off. And next thing he makes 4 threes and you got to adjust. And so, there's all kinds of things inside of a game that, you walk into a game and feel like this is what's, could happen or should happen. And then it doesn't. And, so you just adjust with it. But I do think that lineup, the two bigs together particularly, is something we're going to continue to, obviously develop and work with. And they've had their moments where it's been really good, but certainly we need to be better than we were with that group Thursday night.
How was practice yesterday? Was it up to your standards?
Yeah, I think we didn't go super long. It was more of the film, and I think, my frustration, if you look at, I know people get caught up, and I understand why. It's just the way people's mind works, like 86 points. And, I'll say this, I only worry about, points only matter in terms of possessions played, right? Mm-hmm. If you play a game and you give up 65 points, but you played the game, you only were on defense 60 possessions, to me, that's a much worse defensive effort than if you gave up 75 points in a game where there was 85 possessions, right? It's only points per possession that matter. So the more possessions, you're looking at points per possession. And so, the first 32 and a half minutes, we were well below 1 point of possession, which if you're about 0.9 points of possession, you're going to win about 95% of the time in college basketball. We were below that, even though they made, I thought Chicago, we weren't great defensively, and Chicago State did make some really hard mid-range jumpers. The last 7.5 minutes was really where I, felt like, we got away from who we are, on both ends. I thought we were, and that's that's human nature, to play the scoreboard, to allow the circumstances to dictate your energy and your focus. You're up 36 points. And so what does a basket matter? You're up 36 points. Why not? Why hunt great when I can just take some shots and try to see if I can, increase my scoring average. So, those things are just not going to fly. And we talked a lot about it. And certainly, human nature, is an opponent we're going to have to fight all year long. And certainly that's my job to make sure that we play the right way, regardless of the scoreboard.
There are only a handful of D1 teams in the state of Missouri: SLU, Mizzou, Missouri State, SEMO, Kansas City, and Lindenwood University. And here they come for a game tomorrow night to preview the Lions, if you would.
Yeah, I think it's a good team. They went out and they played two, obviously, extreme spectrum games. They went out to Texas Tech and Lubbock against a top 10 team, and then came home and played health sciences, pharmacy, at the school across the street. So so obviously two complete ends of the spectrum. No disrespect to UHSP, but they're when they went out to Texas Tech, their two leading scorers didn't play. Those guys are both back. So I think it's a good team. I think it's very much like SEMO, watching those guys, watching them out at Tech. They gave Tech a game for 12 minutes or so of the first half, 15 minutes in that range. And like I said, Jones coming back and number 8 for them. They're two leading scorers from last year. Those guys returning will make them a much better team. I think they're well coached. They're very similar, like I said, to SEMO, where I think they're going to be an upper tier OVC team, good size, well coached, a lot of St. Louis kids that are back. So the game will have a lot of meaning to them. Kyle does a good job with them. And it's something we want to do for the area. I think, like I told that to Brad, SEMO, not every year, but certainly on a regular basis, we want to play these teams in the local proximity and get as many games with the Missouri teams or like SIUE teams like that are right here that we can get into. And then hopefully, fans appreciate that.
I love that. Call that the, show me showcase, or if it's SIUE, you gotta have an Illinois flavor to it. But Brad's a good coach, isn't he? I think that SEMO team's pretty good.
They are. I wasn't. People were texting me about they went in and had Missouri on the ropes. I think they led in the final 2.5 minutes, and they wound up losing the game in the final 30 seconds. But very well coached team, very sound. It's normal. For fans kind of to look at it and say, this team stinks or that team stinks. That's awesome part of being a fan. Is you can kind of just look, disrespect the other teams. But, we knew SEMO's a good team. We feel the same way about Lindenwood. These are teams that, if you don't have, part of being a great competitor to me is having really high levels of competitive humility, which is, respect for your opponent, just respect for competition in general, and that anything can happen. That's what makes sports, the best entertainment to me in the world is, nothing's done on paper. There's no guarantees. Games aren't won on paper. They're won on the court or the field or whatever. So Brad's done a really good job. I thought they're going to have a great year. I think they'll be very competitive for the OVC crown. And I really feel the same way about Lindenwood. I think both those guys do really good jobs. They got good programs. Lindenwood's dramatically better than last year. I think when they won 16, 17 games, I think SEMO has a chance to be better than they were last year. So quality games for us early, good tests, and we'll have to be ready to go tomorrow night. When you get to Chaffetz Arena, get your popcorn. This is a highly entertaining basketball team, this Billikens team. Get a hot dog too; they're pretty good, actually. I had one between games on Thursday. Coach, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Have a great game tomorrow. Appreciate it, Tom. See you tomorrow. Thanks. See you next week as well. Absolutely. Josh Schertz with us. His visits are sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll talk some Blues hockey with Dan O'Neill next.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone.
We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-908-8646 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. What do you have to lose? Call 800-908-8646. Again, 800-908-8646.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. This is your last chance to live in a brand new home at the Preserve, located at Mackenzie and Watson Roads. We have 5 outstanding homes ready for move-in at amazing prices and special financing as low as 4.75%. Choose from ranch or 1.5-story homes backing to woods. Our luxurious Turnberry display is now for sale. Also, get up to $10,000 in free closing costs. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey?
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime. And it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Well, we had a lot of stuff going on yesterday. College football at its best. Just some crazy games yesterday. We've gone through a lot of that. College basketball continues today with Mizzou taking on VMI. They will tip off. Let's see. What time does that one tip? Missouri doesn't look great to me yet. I know they're 2-0, 3:30 tip-off for them against VMI. They need to tighten it up. Tighten it up defensively for sure. SEMO made it a very close game, that second game. Well, we also have hockey to be concerned about. The Blues lost another game 4-3 to the Seattle Kraken in overtime. Joining us to talk about that and more is Dan O'Neill, longtime writer, covered the Blues for many years with the Post-Dispatch. How are you, Dan?
Good, Tom. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Good to talk to you. Before we talk some hockey, what's this new book you have going out? I see all kinds of celebrities holding it in all these photos. Those are real and authentic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course they are.
I'll
say, it's a children's book that I just published, and it's kind of a change of pace for me. Although I would suggest that I've always written about children. That's just they used to make millions of dollars. But in this edition, anyway, this issue, I wrote a children's book. It's called The Day Avery Rose Lost Her Nose. My first grandchild is a little girl named Avery Rose, and she's Dan's daughter. You know my son Dan, and she came around, and I was just smitten with her, and I sort of played around with this book for a while. Just kind of didn't really have a book in mind. Really, I was just and during times when I wasn't doing a whole lot, I'd sit down and write a few lines, and it's all rhyming and all in rhythm. And it just took me a while to do it, and I finally finished it, and I put it out this fall.
Dano, it looks great. I just held up for our viewers on YouTube, X, and Facebook the cover and the fact that the Beatles were holding it. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was
nice of them.
Fab4 to give me that promo. Yeah.
Really, really nice of them. And Tom Brady, and who else did I see? Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I think I had Brett Hull. Brett Hull took a picture with it for me, and a few people.
That's awesome. You have covered some big celebrities in your day. As you look at this Blues team, they have a tremendous player in Jordan Binnington. The rest of the cast, I'm not so sure of right now. And if Binnington is not at his top game, I think they can be exposed a little bit. And I do believe that's what's happened here again, actually. The Blues are off to a slow start, Dan.
Yeah, it's really surprising, Tom, especially with Jim Montgomery as their coach. You know, he hasn't even been their coach for a full year or full season. And I really thought they'd get off to a great start this year, given how they finished when they made that change and brought in Jim Montgomery. They played great for him down the stretch last winter, and were one of the best, if not the best, teams in the league. I thought with the training camp and everything under this new coach they had, I thought they'd get off to a great start. But I really don't know what's going on with them. There's something, I think you touched on it a little bit. It's really hard to judge any of their players, I think, right now, because in the context of the way they're playing as a team, I don't think anyone looks particularly good, including Jordan Binnington. There's just something, they're not in sync. There's something culturally not happening for them. They just haven't gotten it together. And like I said, the fact that Jim Montgomery's their coach, and you know, and a lot of situations like this, as has happened with the Blues a couple of times in recent years, when teams get off to a slow start, sometimes they change the coach. Well, that's not going to happen. I mean, Montgomery just got here, and he's got a long-term contract, so he's not going anywhere. So I just think they haven't quite found their identity, so to speak, thus far this season. But I still think they will. I really think their team's better than the one that finished the season last year. So I'm really kind of expecting them to find their way.
Blues made a move today. They assigned defenseman Logan Mailloux. He has looked overwhelmed at times to AHL, and they've recalled their defenseman Hunter Skinner. So Mailloux heads to the Thunderbirds. Dan, before we go, I saw that you had a signing recently in Afton. Where are you headed now as we get closer to the holidays? Will you do some more signings with the day Avery Rose lost her nose?
Yeah, I will be doing some, Tom. Thanks. I'll be doing a book signing at Christopher's in Kirkwood. That's right there on Argonne Road. This Saturday is coming Saturday from 1 to 3. And then the Saturday, Sunday after that, which is the 22nd, 23rd, I'll be at Lindbergh High. They have a big craft fair. I'll be there with all my books, including the new one. And the week after that, I am at Oakville High School the weekend after that. I think it's December 3rd, December 4th. Same thing, have all my books, and I'll be there signing and kissing babies and shaking hands and all that sort of stuff.
And talking sports, because as you know, when you're out in public, people want to know your thoughts on Cardinals, Mizzou, SLU, Blues, all that stuff. And Dan is the man to answer those questions. We've had some great conversations through the years. The book is The Day Avery Rose Lost Her Nose. It is a children's book that Dan has written, and he is so kind to join us today. We're happy to return the favor and send people out to buy the book. It's great for the holidays, and we wish you all the best with it, Dan.
Thanks so much, Tom. It's great to talk to you, man.
Great to talk to Dan O'Neill, longtime writer, columnist, formerly at the Post-Dispatch, and he is very, very good at what he does. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back after the news with NFL picks. Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, will be with us to talk baseball at 11:15. We're going to leave a little early at 11:30 for NFL action as the Patriots visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's going to be a good game. What's my pick on that? I'll tell you next.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Have you set your appointment up yet to have your furnace checked to make sure you are good and ready to go for this winter? It's really, really a great idea to have it done for your own peace of mind and for your safety also. Definitely check your furnace before you use it. You can go to my website. It's bartinman.com, and we'll have pictures up of what we've seen and what we've seen and found that the homeowners had no clue that this danger existed. Most have no idea what I'm talking about now, but if you went to the website, if you're not going to have me come out or another company come out and check, then you'll know what to look for on your furnace and hot water heater also. So my number, again, it's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest number, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Heather Bosch. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy with a warning to Americans.
You're going to have air travel slow to a trickle.
Because of the government shutdown, some air traffic controllers are calling in sick or retiring rather than work without pay. So Duffy has ordered airport capacity reduced by 4%. That'll go to 10% on Friday and could go even further. Duffy tells Fox News.
As everyone wants to travel to see their families, I think we're going to see air traffic controllers, very few of them coming to work, which means, yes, you'll have a few flights taking off and landing at our different airports across the country. But the thousands of flights that happen every day to move people around the country for this great American holiday, it's not going to happen.
Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council, says this will have a wider impact. He tells CBS's Face the Nation.
Thanksgiving time is one of the hottest times of the year for the economy. It's, Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. Right. And if people aren't traveling at that moment, then we really could be looking at a negative quarter for the fourth quarter.
SNAP food benefits are on hold while the courts work out whether they will be fully or partially paid for with emergency funds during the shutdown. Maryland Governor Wes Moore pins the disruption solely on the Trump administration.
There is a chaos, and it is an intentional chaos that we are seeing from this administration, and where they have money for everything. They got money to fight wars. They got money for ballrooms. They got money for everything. But when it comes to supporting the American people, that's now when they are crying, well, we're broke, and that's not what the law requires us to do.
He also spoke on CBS's Face the Nation. A polar vortex from Canada is pushing into the Midwest, Southeast, and Gulf Coast. Record cold temperatures could be broken. The frigid weather is expected to last for several days. Overseas, Israel says Hamas has returned the remains of an Israeli soldier who was killed in 2014. Linda Gradstein reports.
Hamas said it found the body of the soldier, Hadar Golden, in a tunnel underneath the southern Gaza city of Rafah. At the start of the weekly cabinet meeting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Hamas had held the body for 11 years, causing what he called great agony to his family, which will now be able to give him a Jewish burial. Israeli analysts said the return of Golden's body could strengthen the U.S.-backed ceasefire signed last month.
In London, King Charles has led the annual ceremony to remember Great Britain's war dead. Thousands of military personnel, veterans, and members of the public gathered for the somber ceremony at the Cenotaph War Memorial. The king laid a wreath of red poppies on a simple stone monument. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 11:03, it's cloudy and 36 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story following the developments of SNAP here in St. Louis.
In St. Louis, Mayor Kara Spencer says 1 in 5 city residents rely on SNAP benefits. Spencer is asking for businesses and residents to donate. The fund, administered by the United Way of St. Louis, will provide emergency food assistance through local food banks and pantries. In September alone, over $11.5 million of SNAP benefits were distributed. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 months ago, without even seeking congressional approval, the Trump administration began carrying out airstrikes against boats in international waters near Venezuela.
Illinois Senator and combat war veteran Tammy Duckworth says the president claims he was targeting fentanyl and drug traffickers.
Since then, without due process, dozens of people have been killed in these strikes. What he is doing is un-American, unconstitutional, and downright dangerous.
Duckworth said the president is putting service members in danger of being at greater risk of retaliation. In celebration of the Marine Corps' 250th birthday, the governor has ordered the Missouri State Capitol to be shining red, white, and blue. This begins sunrise tomorrow through sunrise on Tuesday. The lighting pays tribute to generations of Marines who have served our nation with courage, honor, and commitment. Your weather forecast, pretty chilly the next couple of days, only around 40 degrees this afternoon. We're almost there now. Tonight, dropping into the mid-20s, even low 20s in some places. Tomorrow, 41 for your high, sunny and brisk. And then not as cold on Tuesday, 60 degrees, and then we'll be in the mid-60s Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, it's 36 in St. Peters, 38 in Florissant. We have 36 downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Chaim Bloom coming up in 10 minutes. I'd say last week's NFL picks, I had some good ones, and I had a lock of the week that did not go very well. I told you Buffalo was going to beat Kansas City. I told Scott Jagow, don't worry about it. Not today, were my exact words. Kansas City is not going to be the best team in the NFL. They were not going to beat the Bills, and they did lose 28-21, so the Bills covered there. But I thought that the Patriots would wax Atlanta. I really was not big on what the Falcons were doing, and I missed on that one. They ended up, Patriots won the game, but they did not cover the spread. They only won by a point, and here they go again. The Falcons are up right now against the Colts. That missed extra point is looming large with 7:02 to go. Falcons have the ball, and they lead by a point, 17-16, that game in Berlin. So if you're just tuning in, I hope you had your fantasy lineup set, because that game, the Falcons and the Colts, is well underway with 6:55 to go. Colts have the ball now as they just received the punt and no return. So the Colts with a chance to win this ball game down by a point. Let's get to our NFL picks for Week 10. Let's start with the Giants and the Bears. Drew, your Giants just are not very good, I'm sorry to say. And they're only a 4-point dog at Chicago today. The Bears, I'm going to take them all day long, a 4-point favorite in that first game of the day at noon. There are, let's see, 7 noon games today. Buffalo at Miami, 9-point spread there. I'm going to go Buffalo again, -9 at Miami. I don't think the Dolphins can handle this train right now. Baltimore at Minnesota. The Ravens are a 4-point favorite at the Vikings, who stunned the Lions last week, 27-24 in Detroit. The Ravens with, right now Lamar Jackson is back. People are feeling a lot better about what they can do. I'm going to take the Vikings +4. Give me Vikings +4 in that one at home. Cleveland at the Jets. The Browns are a 2-point favorite against the Jets, who might end up picking my man Fernando Mendoza first overall. We'll see in the NFL draft. I'll go Browns -2 at the Jets today. I know the Jets had the miraculous victory at Cincinnati, but they had a bye to get healthy. But I think that was a bad bye for them in terms of momentum. I think they'll go right back to where they were, and the Browns will sneak one out today. New England at Tampa Bay, the marquee game on KMOX today. The Buccaneers a 2.5-point favorite at home against the Patriots. I'll take that. I'll give the Patriots 2.5, and the Buccaneers -2.5 at home. I'm going to go Bucs there. The other noon games, New Orleans at Carolina. Watch out now. Panthers are better than people thought. They're 8-4. New Orleans is terrible. Panthers -5. I will do that at home. Carolina -5 at home. Jacksonville at Houston. The Jaguars are a 1-point favorite in Houston. No way. Give me Texans +1 at home against the Jags. Here are the afternoon games. There are only 3. Arizona at Seattle. Seattle's the team nobody is talking about. They were one of the best teams in the NFL, in my opinion. I heard just a week or two ago, people questioned the validity of Seattle as a playoff team. This was on national TV. You can forget about that. They're the real deal, folks. They have won 3 in a row and 6 of 7. And they are 6-2 on the year, and they're going to handle business today at home against Arizona. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Give me the Seahawks -6.5. Rams at San Francisco. Bernie Miklasz passed along a very nice note to me before I did this. He said that the last 18 times these teams have faced each other with these coaches, McVay and Shanahan, the underdog 14-4 against the spread. Isn't that something? The underdog is 14-4 against the spread in this rivalry. Therefore, you know what I'm going to do, right? I got to take the underdog in this one. And that is going to be the 49ers. They are +5.5 at home against the Rams. 49ers find ways to win, and I got them today +5.5. I love that. Detroit at Washington. The Lions, a whopping 8-point favorite at Washington, trying to bounce back from their loss to the Vikings. I'll take that too. Lions -8 at Washington. Pittsburgh at the Chargers is the Sunday night game. Not a great game necessarily, in my opinion. The Chargers only a 2.5-point favorite at home against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Lots of Steelers fans are going to show up to that one. I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to go Pittsburgh plus 2.5. I think they may sneak one out over there. And then what a great Monday night game for Joe Buck to call. Philadelphia at Green Bay, Lambeau Field, Eagles, Packers. The Packers a 1-point favorite at home against the Eagles. I got the Eagles +1. I think they're going to reestablish themselves as the team to beat in the NFC. That's our NFL picks. Chaim Bloom is next on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Watching Hurricane Katrina make landfall.
There, when we came together.
We are at the Schnucks at Butler Hill, just off 55. We are collecting donations and goods for Hurricane Katrina victims.
Move-in kits for the folks who were evacuated because of Hurricane Katrina.
There's just a steady stream of cars, people donating entire baskets full of things.
It's amazing to see this many people. KMOX listener said I had to drop by and give something off.
Detergent and bleach and towels and cleansers.
What it all comes down to is this is a great way for you today to help the victims.
Pretty amazing. In fact, it's kind of choking me up how supportive everyone has been.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257.
i3 Broadband, where in the spirit of the season, you can feast on 100% fiber internet. Whether you're shopping, streaming, gaming, or gathering, you need reliable and fast internet, and that's the good stuff you can stuff yourself on when you have i3. They always mirror upload and download speeds. They have a price lock guarantee, and you get unbeatable value, support, and service. Call today, 877-976-0711. They have plans for any budget, and you're likely to pay less money for better service compared with whoever currently provides your internet. That's i3 Broadband, i3broadband.com.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here for the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX. KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Have you set your appointment up yet to have your furnace checked to make sure you are good and ready to go for this winter? It's really, really a great idea to have it done for your own peace of mind and for your safety also. Definitely check your furnace before you use it. You can go to my website. It's bartinman.com, and we'll have pictures up of what we've seen and what we've seen and found that homeowners had no clue that this danger existed. Most have no idea what I'm talking about now, but if you went to the website, if you're not going to have me come out or another company come out and check, then you'll know what to look for on your furnace and hot water heater also. So my number, again, it's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest number, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. We are the home of the Cardinals, and on Sunday mornings, we visit with the president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. We always appreciate him. He is wrapping up the show today before we take you to the NFL. Chaim, thank you so much for being with us.
You bet. It's good to be with you as always.
Always good to be with you. We already have a question. Somebody wanted me to ask you if you can share details regarding winter warm-up and who's going to show up. Well, you'd have to know who's going to be on the roster at that point. There's a ways to go. We got a couple of months here before the winter warm-up. I would anticipate some roster turnover between now and then, Chaim.
Yeah, well, I hope we're able to do some things that we think are going to be helpful to us by then. I'm looking forward to it, though. You know, we haven't gotten into the planning phases of that. At least I haven't. I know a bunch of our people are hard at work putting the event together, and it's a tremendous event. Really excited to experience it for the first time. But, you know, from my standpoint, obviously, there's a bunch of things I got to tackle first and have been focused on those.
Absolutely. Before we get into that, let's tip of the cap to a couple of winners, some hardware handed out. Mason Wynn wins the Gold Glove, and Alec Burleson, a Silver Slugger. A couple of Cardinals walking away with some honors, Chaim.
Yeah, pretty cool. Really happy for both of them. It was fun to be able to congratulate them on those awards. Just taking them in the order you mentioned them. I mean, Mason, anybody who watches the Cardinals for any length of time, that was not a shock. It's a pleasure to watch him play shortstop every day. Just simply is. He's incredibly talented, does things on the field that really leave you just surprised in a sense that anybody can do some of the things he's able to do. But, you know, we get to see it on a daily basis, and it's really cool. There's obviously such a great tradition of wonderful defensive players, including probably the best defensive shortstop ever to play in our uniform. So it's awesome to have Mason following in that legacy. I believe that was the 100th Gold Glove for the franchise, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? More really than anybody else.
Really cool. And it just goes to show you a big part of what this organization has stood for, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to stand for a long time. And then Burley, you know, one of the cool things, obviously everybody got to see him hit, knows what he can do at the plate. I think the two things I would highlight here, one, he made some adjustments this year. He put in work to try to improve his approach at the plate, worked hard on it, and it paid off on the field. And then also to see him recognized at the utility position, where obviously we had two finalists there, just goes to show you it does bring some value there to be able to play different spots on the field, and just gives you different ways to get in the lineup. And he was able to do that and got an opportunity, you know, got off to a little bit of a slow start. And then once he heated up, he just ran with it and never looked back.
Mason told us that his knee was feeling good. In fact, he was already out doing some jogging. That's a great sign already after the meniscus damage that he had there. Do you have anything on Newt, on Herrera, on Donnie? Any updates on their injuries?
Nothing of note, but that's a good thing. That just means everything's proceeding as we would hope. You know, Newt, obviously, as we've talked about, is the one where there's the most uncertainty around the timetable, but everything's going well for him so far. Nothing to really change our estimation or our prognosis, and hopeful that continues to be the case. Obviously, the real test is going to be once he's able to move around and do some more things, and we see how quickly he can get into really stepping on it and getting closer to game action. But everything in the early going is going all right, and hopefully it continues that way.
What about looking ahead at the GM meetings here in Las Vegas? I believe those officially open on Tuesday. So as you told us, that's when conversations start. And you told us last week, reinforcing you are focusing on pitching. That is a priority for you. When you're looking to add to this starting rotation, can you give us an idea of what kind of pitcher you want, or perhaps the area that you're looking at? What is your best case scenario here as we move forward?
Well, you know, I think it really depends on what type of transaction we're talking about. If we're talking about on the trade front, you know, any trades we consider, the first thing we'll want to target is controllable starting pitching. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to walk past other good players. You obviously always want to maximize the amount of good young players that you have. But if we can get starting pitching that can be a part of this core and can move forward with us for a number of years, and it's someone that we feel we like and that has a chance to get big outs at this level and take the ball 30 times and hopefully pitch in the postseason, that's going to be our primary target. Now, obviously, every club covets those types of guys, right? So there's not necessarily a guarantee that we'll be able to, land someone like that, but we're certainly going to pursue that very hard when we explore the trade front. Obviously, free agency is a little bit of a different animal when you talk about having guys that have more under their belts, and we'll certainly look at those as well and look at guys that potentially have upside and that we can get something out of that maybe they haven't been able to access to this point in their careers. So we're really going to look at both. I expect we'll be having conversations both with agents and with other clubs. Those have really already started. We've already preliminarily flagged some players, with some agents that we're interested in talking about this winter, and touch base with, I would say all 29 other clubs, but obviously Colorado just got their head of baseball ops in place. So we're going to give Paul a little bit of time to settle in before we talk to him, but really 28 clubs just to figure out what their offseason plans are and see where we might line up.
Miles Michaelis is officially a free agent. Chaim Bloom is with us, Cardinals president of baseball operations. Miles is a free agent. You got some big names currently with you that could attract some attention. I'm just curious where the conversations are with those players in terms of what they'd be willing to do and if they'd want to explore that as well. Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras. What can you tell us about those three?
Could pretty much just echo what each of those guys said to our media that last weekend in Chicago, and appreciate that they were willing to be candid. I had great conversations with all three of them as we got towards the end of the season, and each of their situations is a little bit different, but nothing's really changed from what they talked about at that time. They're all different situations individually, and can certainly rehash those if you'd like, but it's too early in the off season for anything to have changed there. I've just been trying to stay in touch with each of them and the folks that rep them and just make sure we're all on the same page as we go through this.
You also have made some transactions recently, and am I right on this that Zach Thompson, who was originally thought to be a minor league free agent, is no longer a minor league free agent because there are some rules that allow him to come back because he was on the injured list all season?
Yeah, that's correct. That was a little bit of an error in the automated system that MLB's kind of central system has to flag players as potential minor league free agents. And it turns out that because he spent the entire year on the minor league injured list, that he did not qualify for minor league free agency. So he is still with us right now. So that was something that just because he was flagged as being a potential minor league free agent, I don't think we or MLB realized that until after he had been outrighted off the roster and then did not become a free agent at 4:00 Central on that day. So happy to have him still with us, and we'll see where it goes from here.
That I first saw that reporting from the Post-Dispatch, so I want to make sure that I cite that before we move forward here with something else, and that is that you have until November 18th. So you've got some time here, 9 days to create some space that for players that you want to protect from the Rule 5 draft. How does that all go down? I see you're already making some transactions here as you've moved some people around. Siani was outrighted, et cetera.
Yeah, so there's a few markers here just to lay this out for any of our fans who might not be aware of all the dates to follow here. Those transactions happen on the 5th day following the end of the World Series. And so that's the first big off-season milestone in terms of setting your roster. And that's a date by which a lot of team and player options have to be decided. Players need to be reinstated from the 60-day IL. And there's certain rules with roster flexibility. If a player has the ability to become a minor league free agent, if he's not on the roster, if you don't remove him from the roster by the 5th day after the World Series, then you're a little bit limited in what you can do with him. So just with those guys, obviously anticipating needing to add some players later in the month, as you talked about, we had to make some moves off of our roster now. And so we ended up making some moves with 4 players, 2 of whom ended up getting claimed on waivers by other clubs, and certainly wish them well. The next dates to look out for, obviously transactions can happen at any time, but you alluded to the 18th. So November 18th is the day when we have to add players to the 40-man roster to protect them from being selected in the Rule 5. We were fortunate to have some standout performances by some Rule 5 eligible players in our system this year. So there will certainly be some players to add and then some decisions we're still working through. And then at the end of that week, November 21st is the tender deadline for arbitration eligible players. So that's a time around the industry when teams who have players who are eligible for arbitration need to make decisions on whether they're going to tender them a contract and take them into that system. So you'll see some action around that date too.
Final thing here before we go, we have about a minute left, and I appreciate this very much. Anything still moving for you in terms of front office and staff? I believe that answer is yes, but you just don't have the full announcement yet of everything that you've accomplished.
Yeah, that's correct. We wanted to make sure, as we've talked about, to announce the two fellows, Jacob Buffa and Joe Douglas, that we added in director roles. There's certainly still other things that we're looking to nail down with our staff, both in uniform and out of it. And once we get to a point of having completed those, I guess you're never complete, but a good stopping point where we have a more full staff to announce, we'll certainly want to keep everybody posted. But it's exciting. We've got some really talented people here, and it's both good to have a lot of those talented people returning with us, and then also have the opportunity to add people from the outside who bring perspectives that are going to help us move forward.
Well, the big fan base will be waiting, and they love these visits, I know, and so do we. We appreciate it. It's a great window to what you're doing to keep everybody informed, and thank you for doing it. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll catch up with you real soon.
Well, absolutely. Love doing it and love staying connected to everybody who cares about this team, and looking forward to continuing that conversation over the course of the winter and beyond.
Have a great day.
You bet.
Chaim Bloom with us, Cardinals president of baseball operations on KMOX, and that's our show. We have the NFL coming in just a few minutes, a little short, but boy, we squeezed it all in there, didn't we? A little football, a little hoops, a little hockey, some baseball. It is KMOX, and coming up next, it's the Patriots and the Bucks in Tampa.